This is Bacon Man. I like math. I like economics. But sometimes I get the feeling they just don't like me back. Well, where to begin? I am a single, young 31-year-old man living on my own in Midtown Bakersfield. I pay about $500 in rent, another couple hundred in utilities like cable, actually just cable internet, which is $50. My PG&E is anywhere between $40 and $60, so we'll round that to $50 as well. $40 a month for a cell phone that is not a touchscreen smartphone, and about another $40 a month in car insurance. So that brings us around $700 so far. You add a couple hundred in groceries and a little bit of packing away money, a little living allowance, and the actual cost of living here runs right around $1,200 a month. Now, I've bounced around a lot of places in the job market here. They seem to want to cap people between $800 and $1,000 a month. Not just girls, not just minorities, no, like everyone, even postgraduates. In fact, there's a lot of places that I apply at where if you're more qualified than someone who's just fresh out of high school, they will push you aside and hire the less qualified person just to get away with paying them less. This kind of makes a big economic bubble where most of my friends are still living with their parents who are still living with their grandparents. Out of the houses I know of that aren't on the job market, I would say about 75% of them are housing at least 3 generations right now. And sometimes, not just 3 deep, but then like the entire breadth of them too. I got one friend who's living with his dad, his uncle, his 2 cousins, and then they're all living with their grandma and grandpa. That is not healthy. I don't know when that became an acceptable outcome for employment or economics or anything. Throughout, I've worked a lot of retail and grocery jobs too, and I'll tell you right now, 90% of my workload when I was working in grocery stores came between the 1st and the 10th when people get their food stamps. It means there's way more people, or way more money in food stamps being spent than actual cash, which is also a really unhealthy thing. But this is the job market that looms above our heads, like we're powerless to do anything about it. Just even regular employment that does make people an honest living around here is not only blocked through educational levels, but then you also have to go through you have to do like a year or 2 of internships, usually unpaid, followed by 6 months through a temp service, followed by another 3 to 6 months in probation. You're practically putting in 2 or 3 years before you're even a regular employee. Which, again, when you have 6 months after school to pay off your student loans is completely unacceptable. Which leaves a lot of people these days in kind of a fend-for-yourself mode, which explains why drug dealing is such a big thing around here and why everyone is a nervous, anxious wreck, mostly about their economics, and why that stuff is so rampant, which I don't want to see as the only building blocks of the future here. So, what I've been trying to do is to start a conglomerate. Well, yeah, it always starts with one business. But eventually, I would like to take a base internet cafe, like a gaming, pretty much a sports bar for non-alcoholic gamers, which I'm hoping to get established soon, and then put that into, like, indie video game development, an animal hospital, some kind of tiki bar, really flesh out the potential around town. I want to do an accounting and a bookkeeping firm, if nothing else, just to coordinate all of my other companies in one location. and a realty reinvestment firm, which aims to combine the concept of reverse mortgages with lower rents to keep properties in the green and lower the amount that people have to pay to stay in places. You know, unfortunately, I don't really qualify as for reverse mortgage deals, being, you know, a healthy 31-year-old. Okay, where was I? But yeah, even still, like with looming student loan debt, which I'll be honest, I haven't even been able to make a nick in that. I graduated high school at 17, got an associate's degree at 19. I mean, when you're a 19-year-old with an associate's degree and you look like you're 12 or 13, life doesn't just throw its doors open and go, hey, come on in. In fact, the town doesn't seem to do that with a lot of people around here, regardless of how smart or competent they are. But yeah, there's been a big trend of a lot of people going independent entrepreneur. The reason I chose to try and do that was just because I got tired of waiting and I didn't think anyone else would. Now, I'll admit, going through high school as the guy in the Ninja Turtles era who didn't like pizza, I'm really used to working on things by myself. I know about team player concepts, I'm great at communication, but I've just had this habit of not relying on others a whole lot, which it's been a crutch in a lot of things. I don't know if it might correspond with dating too, but that's a whole nother ballgame. Basically, I've got this strange habit of just not relying on other people a lot, unless it's absolutely something outside of my hands. But I started making this, have like a four-page business plan, very straightforward. Looked to be making 20K a month in the green once it got going. Paraded it around town. Didn't get any support. Well, there wasn't much they could do without a business license. So I mailed the Secretary of State like 3 times to get a business license. And I got no response. And so a friend and I went physically to the Secretary of State's office to get a business license. And they let us apply for one, but they wouldn't let us walk out with one. I asked them directly, is there any other paperwork that we have to fill out to make this happen now? Said, nope, you should be good to go. I get to town. About 2 months later, I get a thing saying, oh no, you need to fill out an LLC 12. Yeah, I explored my options and decided to go with an LLC company to start with. Why not? It seems like the most plausible thing for what I'm trying to do here. So I fill out this LLC paperwork, and then like another we applied in March, so about another 4 months later, I finally get our first document that has a business license number. It's a tax board certificate pounding us for income tax. Already. Are you serious? We're not even out of the starting gate. We're still talking with bankers and lenders about getting backing on this as a response to a job market that doesn't really exist here. And already they're pounding 800 there, and I just got the other day, I want to say 2 days ago, I got another service letter for $175 asking if we want to renew. No, at this point, I'm thinking it might just be better to go underground with this stuff. You know, I'm a very law-abiding citizen. I've never stolen, never had problems being on time. I know lines not to cross, and I don't cross them. You know, I'm a man with a clean police record for a reason. But if this is the kind of crap that trying to run legit does, no wonder everyone's just going to heck with it. You know. Now, politics right now, don't get me wrong, I have no confidence in politics on either front right now. Okay? Politicians and politics is not going to be the answer to the economic problems. What they expect out of these people is leadership, and we're not getting that. What they're trying to do is force by law something. They can't even agree on what they're trying to enforce by law. And no matter what it is, it's going to rob our freedoms. Either as employees, as employers, as individual contractors, investors. The government's just not going to be the answer.